Okay, hi, good evening, sir.
Hello, good
My name
evening.
is Amir. I'm from KDU,
Oh yeah, okay.
and I'm here regarding our assignment
Mm-hmm.
where I want to ask you about the work ethics.
Okay.
Okay, but firstly, please introduce yourself, name, age, profession, and place of work.
Okay, age, Okay. Hi, my name is Dr. Muhiza Mustafa, but they call me here Dr. Sam. I'm actually 28, but my real world life is 46 years old. And also, I am actually, well, just to give me an overview a bit of my background, I'm actually now, my parents live in Kuala Lumpur, but I was born and raised in Australia.
Okay.
And I lived and worked in the UK for many years until I joined University of Science Malaysia in 2009. Yeah. So, sorry, it was your question again?
Yeah, the place of work. Your place of work currently.
My place now?
Yeah.
Well, basically now I am with the International Mobility and Collaboration Center. I think I just would like to add a bit. My background is actually in also like my colleague Dr. Hafizal in architecture, but mostly on urban design. But I've retrained myself to now teach branding and advertising. I'm with the School of Art. That is what my faculty. But here now I'm the director for the international office, International Mobility and Collaboration Center.
So how long have you been working as an educator? Can you share with me?
Right. Again, that will reveal the secret of my age, but I've been working for the education industry for about, give and take, about 19 years. When I first did my undergraduate degree, after that I was working for a bit as a tutor at the University of Kent in Canterbury before joining an architect firm in London. That's where I've been working. And then I came back to Malaysia for a while to do a stint at the Malaysian education system. I was with a private institution in Kuala Lumpur. And I went back to the UK and I'm a senior lecturer at Birmingham University, teaching in interior architecture and also graphic advertising.
That's nice. So, coming to the main questions, how do you define work ethics?
Okay, I think let's go back to the base word, the word ethics. Basically, it's all about behavior. That is what I understand about the word ethics, is how you behave in certain condition or in certain probably requirement of wherever your work or you're based. So it's important for you to know that ethics is not set of rules, but ethic is in a way that how you behave in certain condition. That's what ethic means.
Okay. So were you taught of the word ethics before you started working, or did you learn them as you work?
Actually, it's both. Of course, when you're young, you're always being taught by your parents to do good, do not do bad. I don't know whether I can say this in Malay, but in Malay there's a certain word called buat baik berpada-pada, buat jahat jangan sekali. So that's ingrained as you are as a young person, and as you grow, you learn to say. I remember my parents always to say, do not forget to say please and thank you when you're asking favors and you're doing stuff. So these are some of the base ethics or base behavior that was being instilled as I was growing up. Also, I've been in a foreign country. Like I said, I live in Australia. There are different kind of sets of behavior that you should adhere to. And then when you're in Malaysia, we're looking at cultural context. And at work, it is different kind of behavior. So when you ask about work ethics, I think I learned it both before I joined the workforce and when I'm actually within the workforce.
So, what are the three most important or top work ethics in your field work? Can you list them according?
Of course. As a person in education, I'm not only just in education, I'm also in administration now. The three keywords I find really, really crucial for anybody as when you say the word ethics, and like I said earlier, it's ethics about behavior, is number one, respect. Now, respect is very important, and then of course, you have respect, you have integrity, and you have honesty. Okay. Why I chose these three words? Because let me try to peel it, one by one. Why respect is important? Any key things that you do, you have to be able to, number one, respect yourself. You have to be able to respect the people that either you are working with or you'll be facing with, and you have to also respect the work itself. So respect is a key word, because if you do not have that as your key, as your foundation, for work ethics, then that is gone. Because then again, if I don't respect other people, then why do I care what people think? So it's not important. If I don't respect the workplace, I can do whatever I like to the workplace. I can come late, I can steal pencil and pen and whatnot. If I don't respect myself, then in a way that, why do I worry about anything else? So that's why I think respect is important. I think it's what is number one when you're looking at work ethics. Number two, if I'm not mistaken, I talk about integrity. If you respect something, then of course, in a way, you have to hold high integrity of what you do. Like I said, when you respect the work, you respect the people you work with, you respect the responsibility that comes with it.
Yes.
Yeah, because as a Muslim, I believe integrity is really important because it all relates back again to the last one, honesty. How honest are you? Or in the Malay word is amanah, and that's the key word. If you're not, you don't have integrity, that's where you are bound to do wrong. I remember this is what my mom is saying, that even if it is 5 minutes of your, if it's not your time, don't take it. Even if it's 1 cent, if it's not your money, you don't take it. That it takes a personal integrity to be able to do that, because again, every time when you work, you'll be tempted with a lot of things. So many things you can do, especially if you're in power. Because you're in power, you sign things. You have that possibility of not following what is right, what is wrong. But you have integrity, then you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then lastly is honesty, because honesty is important because at times where when you're doing work, especially, not everything could actually come your way, or not everything will be smooth and easy.
Yes.
You will be making a mistake. This is where honesty comes in. We are human. To be human is to err. We will make mistake. But the key thing about being a successful person in any workplace is to be able to be honest about things. Another example, sometimes people do things and you take credit for it. So again, these three words are so highly related, respect, integrity and honesty is so close together because it's all about, like I said, it's behavior, it's about you. When you're talking about work ethics, it starts and it begins with you. If you don't have that three, then everything else will not happen. If you don't have respect for time, you will be late. You will not be punctual. If you don't have respect for other people, you cannot work in a team. So again, that is why I chose that three words.
That's a really nice philosophy and principle.
Thank you.
In your opinion, like back to the first question, in your opinion, what is the definition of respect itself?
Well, like I said, it's being able to, number one, be able to behave, being able to understand that you are not the only person, and you must always believe that if you want to gain respect, okay, you have to get respect. Respect is not given, respect is earned. So you have to earn respect. So one is on the key word. You cannot people, you be driving, right?
Yeah.
And then you honk people, hoi, you cut the road, and you come up with all the XX word. But you yourself did not use your indicator, you yourself did not follow the rules of life. I have this experience where, driving, someone will overtake me at the traffic light to cut the queue. I'll get really angry and I will come up with all these words I've never learned before coming to Penang and saying, you don't have any respect of the people that are driving. But sometimes I realize when I am in a hurry, I do not respect that as well. So respect of rule. So this is what I mean by respect, by being able, number one, it begins with you. So make sure that you earn the respect rather than, it cannot be given like that.
So how does respect play its role in your profession? Can you give us an example?
Of course. Okay, for example, being an educator, right? When I teach my students, let's take it that way. When I teach my student, you have to respect where they come from. Okay, you have to respect that yes, they might be young, okay, but they have different sets of experience. They have different sets of seeing. They have different sets of thinking. I cannot impose what I think that is right. So I'm able to respect them in the sense that their thoughts, their thinking, and the way they see, the way they do, the way they talk, to be able to say that, to educate that what is right, what is wrong, and I also have to lead by example.
Yes.
Once I lead by example, if I'm able to respect them, then they are able to respect me. So it takes, you know, two sides of the party to be able to do that. So this is why I think it's so important. This is how I see it works. That I must be able to see other people of their thoughts, their perspective, and their point of view before imposing. Like I say, this is what is right, what is wrong.
Yes, yes. And can you share with us, like, what are the challenges when practicing respects at work?
Like I said, not everybody have the same idea. Again, even the word respect itself, to you, you might have different definition of respect.
Yes.
For others, they might have different probably interpretation of the word respect. But as long as the key thing is, I believe, is that you're able to respect yourself, and you're able to hold all the integrity and honesty in a way that people will actually respect you. It's by action, it's behavior. When you behave right, people will understand, these people is actually doing the right thing. I have to respect him for that. This is what I think this is how. In the challenges is definitely, it's not everyone cups of tea, because like I said, not everybody can understand the way you think.
Yes.
And not everybody have that self-respect to begin with. Yeah. Some say that they are above everyone else.
Yes.
They are better than everyone else. Once they have that thinking, now respect is quite difficult to practice. But like I say, it begins with you. If you be able to show that even though you face a lot of adversity or trying to get people to respect you, they will learn that you know, you are the kind of person they should respect. Yeah.
Thank you. And how will you solve a scenario which violate the work ethic of respect itself?
Well, as the head of the department, you know, you do get that. But I think the best way to get an amicable solution to any conflict is to be able to sit them together. Okay. When I handle, for example, my team or even my student, if they have any, I do have students with teamwork, and of course we will have cat fights. But luckily there's no biting and hair pulling, but it's almost there. But when that happens, it's best to be able to listen. I get them to come and sit in my room, okay, and I will give them the ground rules. When one is speaking, the other cannot speak. The other must listen. Because again, it's all about misunderstanding and miscommunication of respect. So being able to sit there and listen to what people have to say means you're already respecting them. Learn to respect that. And learn to respect me as the one who is as your teacher and also as an elder person. Well, not that old, I'm still young. To be able to listen to my suggestion. So one person speak, another person will listen, and then vice versa. Then only then I say that, okay, obviously I'll tell them why is this person unhappy and why is this person, the other person is unhappy. So can you respect certain decision that we make today? So this is how we resolve some conflict. Be able to sit down together. Yeah.
So back to the second work ethics,
Mhm.
which is integrity.
Mm.
In your opinion, like, what is the definition of integrity?
Well, like I said earlier, integrity is being able to, number one, to be following, if you have sets of rules in your life, you know, and the sets of rules have been set for you, you're able to follow that sets of rules, yeah, without breaching the sets of rules. Because when you talk about integrity, you're talking about trust, how people are trusting you, or you are being entrusted with certain kind of responsibility. Having integrity is having that behavior where you hold on to what is right and not moving into that something that is not right. That is integrity.
And how does integrity play its roles in your profession?
Well, of course, I'm given a lot of responsibility by the university. I'm taking care of all international, for example, now as International Mobility and Collaboration Center Director, I'm given the integrity is given to me is I'm be given money to handle, for example, project to handle, and how if I'm a bad person, there are ways of, you know, we've seen example, you know, when you don't have integrity, you tend to probably pocket some stuff that I'm not supposed to say what, but then that is just not right. You don't have integrity means you don't have a behavior that sets you within that rules, that is acceptable rules. So then you will do that. And then as an educator, I'm given the responsibility to teach. I can, for example, as a lecturer, and teach, and I open a book and just teach and let the students listen to me.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think when it comes to integrity, that I have to make sure that the transfer of knowledge or the assimilation of knowledge happens. So I have to make the learning more interesting. I have to make my classroom more engaging, which I can if I do not want to do that. But that's integrity. As a teacher, what is again that has been entrusted to me by the university and the hopes by my students and their families. Yeah.
And what are your challenges? What are the challenges you face when practicing integrity?
I think the biggest challenge is yourself. Yeah, there are so many temptations in life. For example, there's so many times where you feel that for example, I'm really tired. I will cancel the class. I will replace it whenever I can. I think you might have heard this, but even though as tired as I am, integrity said no. You have to keep to the time because students are expecting you to be there. So. And no matter how tired I am, because I travel quite extensively as well, I'll be back. I'll be in classroom right on time. Usually 5 minutes before my students. And usually are late. I make it a point that never to be late for my classes.
That's good.
Yeah. So again, that is integrity. You have integrity to be on time. So you have to ask yourself that: will you be on time, or you're not going to be on time?
So how will you solve a scenario which violates the work ethic of integrity?
Well, I have to tell myself. I think when you say how not to violate, it's practice. Integrity takes a lot of. Again, you have to respect yourself. You have to respect your surrounding, and you just have to do the right thing. So I think that's the only answer I can actually give. It's all yourself actually.
Okay, and lastly is honesty. In your opinion, what is the definition of honesty?
Being able to tell the truth even though it hurts. Even though, like for example, I'll take a bit of example. You have a partner and you cheated on your partner. If you have to say it, you have to say it. Yes. Okay, even though it hurts, it's for the best. Okay, or if you don't like a person, don't take them out for a date just because you like the money or the car they drive.
Yes.
And that's an example. Oh, my apologies. My apologies. Okay, this is not good. Not good example. Okay, sorry. So do not follow this, folks.
Thank you for that very short and precise answer. And how does honesty play its role in your profession? Can you give us some example?
I mean, not only just my profession. I think any of you guys also have to have that honesty. I mean, when you do things, like I said, we do make mistakes, and sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it's nice to sugarcoat things and tell the honest truth. But I think not all of us can be honest 100%. I'd be lying to say that I'm honest 100%. Sometimes I sugarcoat things. You have to look at the situation where you have to be diplomatic sometimes. So I think in my job, I need to be honest in the way I run the office and the responsibility that's given to me. That's it. That's all I can think of at the moment. Because I think the word relates, so it's self-explanatory between those words.
And what are the challenges faced when practicing honesty at work?
It's not easy. Tell me anyone who says to be honest is easy. You tell me now, and I'll give you, if you can find, apart from probably in Muslim we believe the Prophet are honest, but apart from that, you give me a name of a person that's 100% honest, I'll give you $50 now. 100% honest. You have to be honest with yourself, you're honest. Okay, so I find that is the biggest part of the challenge is to be 100% honest. To be honest, it takes practice. It takes also your upbringing and understanding, your behaviors.
And how will you solve a scenario which violates the work ethic of honesty itself? Okay.
I do not compromise when it comes to honesty. If I do, for example, if as a head of the department, if I do get my staff being dishonest, I have to set an example so that the rest can see that it is important to be honest. If I do catch any of my team member to be dishonest, I will actually take a disciplinary action, a very, very strict disciplinary action, to the point where these are real thing, to the point where they will be actually their contracts or their employment will be terminated almost immediately. And as for my student, if I do catch them plagiarizing whatever it is, I'll be reporting them to the legal office and also to the university because I do not These are one thing I do not compromise. I do not compromise on people who cheats and whatnot. I will give them advice, but the advice comes with dire consequences. But saying that, before you take action, you have to actually lay down all the rules and regulations to all of them, to my students, so that they know that I do not accept people who cheat or being dishonest with their exams or their assignment and whatnot. So for me, I do not compromise that. The reason being that it's not so much I want to be too strict, whatever it is, or I'm being too honest, whatever it is. I mean, I like to be 100% honest. But all I'm saying is that, for example, right, if let's say I do not take any drastic action to them, or it's okay to be that, and when they go out in the workforce, when they join the workforce, they realize, oh, it's still okay to do this. So I do not want to have that. My students have this idea: it's okay to cheat, or it's okay to be dishonest. It's dangerous. It also reflects the university and how they train their students as well. So that's very important. I do not compromise on dishonesty.
Correct. And being said all that, like in your opinion, why are these work ethics important in the working environment?
Well, look, whether you like it or not, let me touch a bit now. I'm going to be a bit long-winded, but I have to touch this. Whether you like it or not, let me take an example. Okay, there will be, for example, we have 497 private institutions in Malaysia. We have 20 public universities in the country. Total number alone will be thousands and thousands and thousands, right? And because of that, you are actually one in this, and not only, for example, if you're looking for jobs in a company, you're not the only one. They are from other countries that come here to Malaysia, so all looking for the same job. Now, if let's say now you have the taste of being dishonest or not being trustworthy or do not have integrity, that will not, you cannot hide that for long.
Yes.
And because now it's not very easy to get jobs, you need to have that instilled to show that you are actually an asset to any organization. Yes, if you don't have that, that will be very dangerous. People will find out, and then that's your out job. You must understand, in Malaysian working environment, news travels really fast. If, example, now you do not have good record, people will know. In education industry, people will know. Yes. People do talk, and so this is really dangerous. Once you're marked being dishonest, being disrespectful, and do not have integrity, you'll be marked for life, and we do not want that to happen.
And how does the work ethics, all that you mentioned before, like benefit or affect you as an educator or person?
Well, so far, for me, alhamdulillah, because I hold on to those 3 work ethics. At the moment, I've worked in the UK, I've worked in Malaysia, and so far, alhamdulillah, because even though I left my company, my university, even my boss keep coming back, keep asking, please come back, because again, they understand that she can trust me to carry out the responsibility that's given to me, and I complete it. Not only that, I go above and beyond that. Even at the university now, I think that me being the director of international office, because they trust me to hold this responsibility, and this is what I think it has helped me. And I believe as well, especially being a Muslim, I believe all these 3 is so important that whatever that I make, it has to be halal in a sense. So that is just why it's so important that for me for me to earn my keeps rather than just So these 3 words has been my compass in my life.
Oh, okay. And do you have any recommendation to improve the education sector in terms of work ethics?
Well, I think training should be given, not only to staff or of any officers, but also to, if let's say you're in education, even to students. Yeah, you must understand sometimes students tend to forget work ethics. I've met students. I give you an example. I have students who, after graduation, who actually came back to you and say thank you. Some will leave and forget you. Okay. For me, that is about having that respect. Respect that you respect your teachers, because when you respect your teachers, it will reflect in your character. It's all about your character. I mean, it doesn't take long for you to pick up the phone and call your lecturer saying thank you, teacher, whatever it is. It reflects in your character. And if you carry a very good behavior, you will carry it throughout your life and your work, and people will be able to respect you. You will be able to live comfortably, And I believe that 3 words will take you very, very far, actually. This is an honest opinion of where I'm at the moment in my life. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's all for now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your really remarkable answers.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think that's all. And thank you for lending your time in this interview.
No problem. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, very good afternoon. My name is Azmiro, and on behalf of my group assignment for Morals and Ethics from KDU, we would like to ask you a few questions regarding to work ethic. But first, I would like to ask a few questions. First, can you please introduce yourself, your name, age, profession, and place of work?
My age. So my name is Muhammad Hafizah Muhammad Isa. I am 36 years old. Currently, I'm a lecturer at University Science Malaysia, teaching architecture. I've got my PhD degree from Tohoku University, Japan. So I'm start working at this university since 2013, and then until now.
Okay. And how long have you been working as an educator, and can you share us your experience working here?
Okay, I start to work as an educator since 2013, after I get back from Japan. And then, you know, there's a lot of experiences that I've been through being an educator. You know, you have to be very flexible, I think. Like, for example, you have, you know, when you offer a program, you know, they have various levels, you know, first year, second year, third year. So anytime you can teach first year student, and then the next year, you never know that you're going to teach the second year, third year. And then especially when I teach architecture, there's a lot of, subjects involved, like for example, studio where you have to give full commitment to students. So for me, flexibility is very important. Yeah.
Okay, and how would you define work ethics in your own words?
Work ethics. I think work ethics is some kind of responsibility. I think that you have inside you. So this responsibility translated into many, other factors. You know, like for example, maybe integrity, the one, integrity, honesty, or something like that.
Okay.
But for me, I think it's responsibility. Yeah, your responsibility towards those, factors.
Okay. And were you taught of the work ethics before you started working here, or did you learn them as you started working?
You know, I think work ethics, I think since you are in your primary school, or maybe you're in your kindergarten, you know, work, it doesn't mean that when you work. Yeah, I mean, like when you study, you do things, it's already considered as work. Yeah. So meaning like our parents, our teachers already inculcated those ethics since you are small. So, but I don't think that I've learned work ethics when I start working. You know, I mean, like for example, like you guys are students at KDU. So most probably, like for example, doing assignments, you have to be punctual. You know, like team efforts. You know, you are the moderator, and then someone have to take care of the camera. You know, something like that. So meaning like teamwork is very important. So you learn work ethics since maybe since the kindergarten or something like that. Yeah, not when you start joining in a working field or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. And what are the most important or top work ethics in your field of work, and can you list them according to their importance?
Okay, I think the main one is integrity. Yeah, work ethic, integrity, because it can affect many ways. You know, money. You know, about your punctuality, even, you know, punctuality. If you don't have integrity, you come late to work or something like that, you know. I think integrity, responsibility, and then maybe one more is initiative, I think. Okay.
So now I will ask about the definition of punctuality.
Punctuality,
yeah.
Meaning like on time. I think being there on time, I think that is punctual. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So the next one I will ask about how does punctuality play the role in your profession? Can you give some
Yes.
example?
Like for example, in terms of teaching, you know, those days people used to say, like for example, if you are a student, you have to wait for your teachers to come. But I also don't believe in that. You know, sometimes the student wait for you for a very long time, and then you didn't show up in the class, and then they assume that the class is cancelled. So it's going to cause hard time for you, you know. So for me, punctuality is very important, both student and lecturers. You know, like for example, if a lecturer came late, yeah, and then the student think that the class is cancelled. But when the student came late to the class, you know, all the knowledge that you want to deliver, the important ones maybe, so the student cannot listen it on the first hand, you know. Like for example, most of when I teach in my lecture, you know, the slides can be a photo, yeah, a photo, but there's a lot of explanation being done by myself, you know, just to explain what's the photo is all about. So like for example, even though in the end you get the lecture slides from me, but you didn't know the content. You can see the photo, but you don't know how to elaborate the photo, something like that. So meaning like you should not come late to the class or something like that. Punctual is very important. And then one more thing is, when I become administrator at IMCC, International Mobility and Collaboration Center, I deal a lot with foreign counterparts or foreign partners, you know. So we expect, you know, that people are punctual, you know. When you have meeting or something like that, you know, people come all the way from Japan, from UK, they travel thousands of miles, and then suddenly you cannot, like for them to make an effort to travel all the way from their country to our country, being punctual, and then we are here in Malaysia being late. It's such an embarrassment, I think, for the nation. So in both situations, being administrator and being a lecturer, punctuality is very important.
Yeah, so next I will ask about the challenges faced when practicing of punctuality at work. So share the experience that you feel.
Because I think punctuality, there's a lot of external factors, you know, like for example, intentionally you want to be punctual, but sometimes you get caught in traffic jam or something like that. So I think being a good person, you can predict, you like for example, when will you arrive to your destination. You have Waze, you have this and that, lots of tools that you can use. So if you are going to arrive late, you should let you know, other person know when will you arrive. Yeah, so I think there is no excuses of being late where the other person didn't know that you're going to be late or something like that. So there's a lot of ways for you to tell in advance, so you can reschedule your meeting or something like that. Okay.
So next I will ask about how will you solve a scenario which will for at the work ethic?
In terms of punctuality? Yeah, if you deal with students, you're going to punish them. No, just joking. So normally lecturers will punish the students, yeah, for being late. Sometimes they don't allow you to enter the room, not deduct the mark or something like that. But for me, this is my personal practice, yeah. I don't mind if student came late in my class. It's their loss. You know, like for example, I don't scold them, I don't punish them. You know, like for example, if I start to teach and then suddenly some student came late, you know, when they open the door, the squeak of the door disturb the class. It's okay for me still, but it's their loss, you know. So if they want the knowledge, they want to seek for the knowledge, they should come early, yeah. But there's a lot of ways that you can overcome this problem, you know, by, like I mentioned to you, you can use a lot of tools, you know. Like for example, you should because there are a lot of external factors, you know. Sometimes students came late to the class because of they have you know, like hang out at night time, go to mama or something like that, watching football at 3 a.m. or something like that. And then in the end, because that is lifestyle, you know, I don't blame them, that is their lifestyle. So I don't mind of their lifestyle, but they have to consider their core business, which is studying or something like that. So that is about students. Even like for example, among lecturers or administrator, you know, there's a lot of, like, you know, Malaysian time. I think you heard about Malaysian time everywhere. So I think we need to change our attitude towards Malaysian time, you know. We need to change, you know. Like normally people used to say like when we make an appointment at 10, it'll be 10:15. Yeah, something like that. And then I hate when, I mean, like for example, we ask, where are you? I'm on the way. So, but on the way, where are you exactly on the way? You know, like you can be, just wake up, you know, wake up and then you are in your in shower. There's a lot of, it's so generic about on the way, yeah. So we should change ourselves.
So, okay. So next I will ask about the honestly.
Okay, honesty, yeah.
Yeah. So, what about the opinion of the definition of honestly?
Honesty, I think honesty being being transparent.
Okay.
Yeah, I think honesty is being transparent, where you don't have anything to hide, something like that. I think being transparent can, yeah.
Yeah. So, how does honesty play the role in your profession? Can you give some example?
Okay, being a lecturer, okay, sometimes when you give certain opinions, you know, like, okay, there are few lecturers that they are consider themselves like God, you know, being always right, righteous or something like that, self-righteous. So sometimes it's hard for them being honest in terms of admit their mistake to students, because if they do some mistake, want to admit the mistake, they think that they will downgrade their level, you know, student will look down on them. But for me, no, if like for example, sometimes when you throw your opinion, some lecturers, they always want to win in terms of, you know, not arguing, I mean like debating with their students. But for me, if your point is correct, it's okay, but it's not correct, your student point is better, then you should accept it and then being honest, telling them something like that.
So next I will ask about the challenge that face when practicing of honestly at work. Share experience. You got any experience?
Yeah, I think being honest is not hard. It's not hard, yeah. And then I don't think there is a lot of challenge being honest. But sometimes, you know, like for example, when you have other commitments, and then you have to go somewhere, and then like for example, people ask you, are you at the office or something like that? People tend to lie to their bosses or something like that, yeah. So even with students, dealing with students, you know, sometimes they say, I'm sorry, I cannot turn in my assignments because lots of reasons, various reasons. So you don't know whether they are honest or not. So dealing with students, there's a lot of judgment, you know, that you have to consider. You know, when student didn't turn in their assignments, whether you want to really accept their reason or not. Sometimes they are honest, but actually they are lying, or at the same time, I don't know, you know, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so in next I will ask about how you solve a scenario which violate.
About honesty.
Yeah.
Honesty.
Yeah, about the work honest.
Okay. I think it's the same way like before, you just give advice to them, you know, being honest. If you, like for example, don't lie. Yeah, people hate, you know, if like for example, someone lie to you. So being honest, sometimes it doesn't improve your result or your mark. You know, sometimes students being honest in hoping that the lecturer will accept the assignment or something like that. But it doesn't mean that, you know. Yeah, it doesn't mean that way. Sometimes the value of knowledge is more important. You know, when you do mistake and you learn from it, yeah, it's more important.
Yeah, okay, so next I will ask about the integrity.
Okay, I think we are more than 5 work ethics, right?
Yeah.
So we are cut, we jump straight to conclusion. No cut on any equipments, continue recording. So
Okay.
as you will jump straight to the conclusions on whole.
Okay, for the last part, as a conclusion, so okay, what about your opinion? What that this work ethic is important in working environment?
Yes, I think work ethic is very important in daily life. Actually, it's just not working, you know, like in your daily life. Like for example, in daily life, just look at a trolley.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, trolley. Like for example, it's a simple thing, you know, simple tool where you put all your stuff when you shop, right?
Yeah.
But it's hard for people to return it back, you know, after they shop. Most people will just leave it there, you know, sometimes they block the parking or something like that. I think work ethics is very important, you know, like for example, I can share in Japan, yeah. If there is natural disaster happen, you know, like earthquake, okay? So like for example, I'm a lecturer, I send my kids to kindergarten. If like for example earthquake happen, I start to feel worried and then I left my class. I went to the kindergarten and tried to check out like for example if my son or my daughter okay or not. So I leave my student at the university without leaders, you know, without knowing what to do, guidance. But if like for example the teacher at the school can take care of my daughter, I know that they are in the safe hand, so I don't have to run to the kindergarten to check on them. So I just save the students at the university. So work ethic plays a very important role in terms of making sure the system works smoothly. So if everybody play their parts well, so the system will work smoothly without any problem.
So next I will ask about does the work ethic benefit or affect you as an educator?
Yes, there's a lot of I think benefit. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, meaning like I mentioned to you, I can smoothen the system. Yeah, and then there will be no arguments. Yeah, and then you can understand. You can be more competent in terms of culture, culture competency when you look in terms of that perspective. Yeah, there will be no miscommunication. Yeah, something like that. And then the most importantly is like people will respect each other. Yeah, and then you can achieve your goal easily.
Yeah, okay. So the last part, do you have any recommendation to improve the education sector in terms of work ethic in future?
Work ethics. Oh, there's a lot of things, you know, like for example, when you ask me integrity, punctuality, yeah, there's a lot of things that people need to touch. But I think it started, like I mentioned to you in the beginning, ripple effect. You know, like for example, if any lecturer or student play their part, people will follow all the good ones, yeah?
Lead by the good example.
Yeah, lead by the good example. So in the end of the day, everything will run smoothly. So I think we should not wait for people to change us, but we need to change ourselves first to be a better person or something like that. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Ga?
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Alright, now we go on with the second one is, in your opinion, what is the definition for initiative?
Initiative. I think initiative is something that almost similar to team player where you start first.
Yeah.
Okay. So normally, I don't know whether you have heard about a ripple effect. Ripple effect, meaning like you know, you start with something simple, you start first, but people who saw it, they will get influenced. Like for example, if like you see everyone is throwing garbage or you know outside of the car window, and then everybody will do the same thing. But if you stop doing that, or maybe you know collect all the garbage and then put it in the bin, so people will look to this quality and then they start to follow. In the end, nobody throw the garbage anymore, something like that. This is how the ripple effect play roles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, and then how does initiative plays its roles in your profession, and can you give any example?
Okay, like for example, like when I work here at International Mobility and Collaboration Center, this is not as academia but as administrator. You know, like for example, I used to sweep the floors. It's not the cleanest. I mean, like sweeping the floor is the cleanest job, but I also sometimes sweep the floors. You know, like for example, you know, like normally people when they work in the working environment, okay, this is my job. This is your job. This is not my job. You know, like cleaning the toilet is not my job. Yeah, but sometimes when you work at IMCC, you know, you always receive a lot of visitors abroad. You know, it's the same like, for example, you have a house, okay, and then like your relatives would like to come, and then your house is a mess. Who wants to clean the house?
Yeah.
Are you going to wait for, you know, like maids to come over every weekend to clean up the house? But you have to do it. So it's the same way. So I hope that by doing that, it can show to my other staff, regardless their levels. You know, like for example, whether they are officers or clerk or something like that. You know, even for myself, I am a deputy director. I can go down and do those kind of job. You know, like work. So I hope that they can follow. You know, that thing.
Okay, and what are the challenges that you face when practicing initiative at work, and can you share your experience?
You know, sometimes it is hard to start. You know, when you say initiative, it is hard to start. And then sometimes, like when you want to start something new, you know, people are accustomed of doing something to their norm. Meaning, like, you know, like for example, if you're in a working environment, you know, like for example, like let's say like breakfast time. So during breakfast time, people used to say, you know, if work in the government sector, you know, people will go out of office, you know, for 1 hour, yeah, something like that. And then when you start to impose initiative, meaning like you start to impose a new rule saying that, okay, from now on, only one staff can go at a time, and then they start to rebel. Yeah, something like that, you know, they will start to complain and stuff. So I think it's quite challenging, you know, in terms of implementing a new rules, or, you know, like for example, I was graduated from Japan, and then, you know, when I study in Japan, there's a lot of good, Japanese behavior that you can learn from, you know, the cleanliness, punctuality, or something like that. But when you want to try to apply that one in Malaysia, we are not accustomed to that, and then people will start to rebel, something like that. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of challenges in terms of being initiative, but you need to try to implement a new system that you want to do carefully. I think carefully. You have to consider not too drastic. You have to take one step at a time.
Okay. And how will you solve a scenario which violates the work ethic or profession for initiative?
Can you repeat again?
How will you solve a scenario which violates the work ethic of initiative?
Violates, okay. Normally, when you say violate initiative, I don't think that is one of my concern, because normally in being initiative meaning like they want to start something good. So normally they don't violate anything if they want to do something good. Yeah. So for me, if the suggestion or the gesture is good, so normally I don't have any problem with that. Yeah.